Jake Paul towered over Gervonta Tank Davis in their face-off. The size difference impossible to ignore. The tension in the room shifted instantly. This wasn't just a meeting of fighters, it felt like a storm about to break. Even he himself claims his biggest edge is the size advantage. He stated, "I would say a lot of things, but I think first and foremost it is going to just be my reach, my size, being able to keep him away." That statement hit hard because the difference was already clear when they stood face to face. Jake looked like the bigger man, and he knew how to use it. The idea of keeping Tank at a distance made the matchup feel even more dangerous. Every jab, every step could turn into a barrier Tank might not cross. It set the tone that this fight could be fought on Jake's terms from the very start. But size wasn't the only thing on his mind. He pointed to something far deeper. He stated, "I think there's a lot of holes in his defense that a lot of people haven't exposed before." This wasn't just about being taller or longer. It was about finding cracks where others had failed. He spoke like a man who had studied every move Tank makes. The confidence in his voice made it sound less like a guess and more like a plan. Suddenly, the fight seemed less about brute force and more about breaking Tank apart piece by piece. It left the question hanging. Has Jake really seen what no one else has? This isn't just another call-out. Jake has had Gervonta's name on his hit list for 4 years. Now the moment he once predicted is finally here, and he's speaking with the belief of a man ready to cash it in.
And he's a great fighter, one of the best. I'm excited. He's elevating me to a new height. He's making me push myself to my limits. I'm more locked in than ever. But at the end of the day, I know I'm going to be able to come out on top and outbox the guy who's been doing it for 7 times as long as me.
That history makes every word hit harder. What started as a bold promise years ago is now a fight the world can't look away from. It's no longer talk, it's a test against one of the sport's most feared names. The way Jake frames it, he's not stepping in to survive. He's stepping in to prove he belongs. And that question, destiny or downfall, is exactly what keeps fans holding their breath. As this fight took years to happen, and for most of that time, many never considered Jake deserving. Now he fires back with words that prove he hasn't forgotten the doubt.
Nah, they'll never give me credit until I have the world championship belt, but that's okay. It doesn't matter, you know. But belts collect dust, and what I've done in the sport is unprecedented. Never will be replicated, and done it in such a short amount of time. Just getting warmed up. They're not going to give me credit. But I don't need the credit from these bozos, to be honest. The credit's in my bank account.
It was more than just talk. It felt like payback for every critic who dismissed him. He made it clear that belts and approval don't define him. His journey already speaks louder than trophies. In his eyes, what he has achieved in just a few short years is something the sport has never seen before. That mix of confidence and defiance added new heat to the buildup. The underdog has turned himself into a man everyone is forced to take seriously. On the other side, Tank came back with a raw and fiery warning. His words showed this wasn't just a fight, it was personal.
I find out anything, I'ma beat your ass and I'ma beat Jaden Love ass. On my mama, I'ma beat both of y'all ass. On my mama. And he laughing. He know. He laughing.
What are you talking about?
What
does he have to do with this?
Let anything. You know what I'm talking about. Let anything. Nah, I don't have to say it right now. Don't worry about it. I don't got to say it up here. Let anything happen. And I'm going to show you and him. Bet.
The message was clear. No slip-ups would be forgiven. His energy brought the tension to another level, turning the room heavy. You could feel that he was ready to put action behind every word. It wasn't for the cameras, it was for pride and respect. The clash suddenly felt more dangerous, less controlled. This is the kind of pressure that can explode on fight night. And if that energy carries into the ring, the sparks will be impossible to contain. Tank then spoke with focus, like a fighter planning every move. He made it clear nothing would be known until the ring decides.
His power, gotta test his power, gotta test his, just everything, to be honest. I never been in the ring with Jake, so I could say a lot, but when it comes down to November the 14th, you know, I gotta be in there with him. I gotta be able to, you know, his arm reach, his size, his power, you know, the way he moving and things like that. I just gotta adapt, you know, as as I fight him come.
It sounded like he was breaking the fight down piece by piece. Reach, size, power, all would be tested in real time. There was no fear, only focus on adapting to whatever comes. The way he spoke made it feel like a puzzle he was ready to solve. November 14th became less of a date and more of a battlefield. The calmness in his tone made his threat even stronger. It felt like the kind of calm before a storm only a fighter can carry. At another moment, Tank admitted Jake's size can't be overlooked. He gave respect, but also hinted at the risks hiding in plain sight.
You know, somebody like his size and things like that, we gotta take him serious because we don't want to say it, but you know things can go sideways. So we ain't taking him lightly. We definitely looking at Jake Paul as a real fighter. I watch him when I'm training, when I'm home from the gym, and you know we're not taking him lightly. You know, again, it's gonna be good for the sport. I'm just glad to be here, you know.
He made it clear they were watching Jake closely, no shortcuts in preparation. The danger was real and they weren't pretending otherwise. It gave the fight a heavier feel, like a storm building in silence. By calling Jake a real fighter, he gave weight to the matchup. That honesty raised the stakes for both sides. Fans now knew Tank wasn't sleeping on the threat in front of him. That respect mixed with rivalry makes this fight even harder to predict. Tank further cut through with a short but stinging reply. It was a cold dismissal that showed he wasn't buying the hype.
He said he gonna outbox me. Whoop-de-doo.
The short response carried the tone of a man who doesn't flinch. It wasn't playful, it was serious, almost cold. He made it clear that promises of outboxing don't impress him. The fight was no longer about words. It was about proving who's real. That kind of attitude turns hype into hostility. His silence afterwards said more than a paragraph ever could. The tension in that moment made the rivalry feel even sharper. To close it off, Tank surprised many by speaking with calm reflection. He showed that this fight is not just about fists, but about growth.
Yeah, it's actually like, you know, now that I'm looking at it now, it's just like, I don't know, probably this was a good thing, you know, by just, you know, us fighting. Because you have someone that, we come from two different sides, like, of the world. We come from, you know, and we still on the same path to get the same thing, you know. So I think it's good, you know. My headspace that I'm in now is way better than what I was before, and that's the only thing that mattered to me.
He showed respect for the journey, pointing out how both men walk different roads, but aim for the same prize. It was the kind of honesty that made the clash feel meaningful. Behind the fire, there was also growth and clarity. He wanted the world to see this as more than just entertainment. That balance of respect and rivalry gave the fight a deeper edge. It made fans realize this is not only about violence, but about legacy, and that legacy is exactly what makes this battle so gripping. Jake didn't just talk seriously, he mocked Tank with sharp humor. His words had the crowd laughing, but also fueled the fire.
Yeah, just a lot of punching down, practicing, hitting below my knees, and a lot of speed.
He warming up.
We're sparring.
That's what we need.
We're sparring.
Warm up.
Some
I know
8-year-olds. I got the 8-year-olds in there.
If I find out anything,
It was more than just a joke. It was a way to belittle Tank's style in front of everyone. The moment showed how Jake mixes comedy with mind games. That kind of ridicule can sting just as much as a punch. It set a tone that Jake was willing to go low to get under Tank's skin. The tension turned playful on the surface but cut deep underneath. Then he flipped back into full confidence, making a promise about the fight itself. This wasn't humor anymore. It was pure conviction.
Just showing up. Honestly, yeah, just I'm gonna knock him out. You know, he has a lot of flaws in his defense, and I'm gonna expose him. You know, look what a 135 Lamont Roach did to him, and it's just gonna be so much fun for me. I'm so glad that God gave me this moment. I'm Gervonta Tank Davis's karmic retribution.
He spoke with the certainty of a man who already saw the ending in his head. Calling out Tank's flaws made the fight sound like a foregone conclusion. He turned it into something bigger, almost spiritual, like destiny lining up. That kind of talk puts pressure on both men, one to deliver, the other to shut him down. The crowd could feel the weight of that challenge hanging in the air. The clash soon turned personal, with insults flying back and forth. Jake went all in, firing shots at Tank's image and passed.
When I walk in the ring?
Yeah.
With or without the ankle monitor on?
That's corny. That's super corny. I don't know how much I weigh.
And the handcuffs too.
Huh? What are you talking about, fam?
How do you win this fight?
That outfit is trash. For real. That outfit is garbage. And that hairstyle. Anybody that ever rocked a mohawk is a fucking clown. We all know this. Anybody rocked a mohawk. Name
You
them.
want to see clowns? You want to see clowns? Gervonta, you're the fucking clown, buddy. You're the fucking clown, Gervonta. Any man who puts his hands on a woman is the clown. I got you a poodle.
This wasn't about tactics or training anymore. It was about pride and reputation. Jake stripped away the politeness and went straight for the jugular. The intensity made the press conference feel like it could erupt at any second. Every insult was meant to break Tank before the first punch was thrown. By the end, the room wasn't just watching fighters. They were watching enemies. Shannon Briggs stepped in with his trademark energy, looking at the bigger picture. He spoke about what this fight means beyond just the ring.
I think it's great for the public, for the fans, and for the kids, and for the people who are not traditional boxing fans. It's great to bring more fans to the sport, and I think it's great.
His words carried the sense that this matchup is more than competition. It's a gateway. He framed it as a chance to pull in kids, casuals, and fans who never cared about boxing before. That kind of reach can shift the sport's future in a big way. It wasn't about belts, it was about eyes on the game. And from the way he said it, this fight feels like an event that stretches far past tradition. He doubled down by talking about money and legacy, comparing this moment to legends who broke barriers before. For Briggs, the fight choice itself was proof of something larger at play.
The money. This is great for boxing, great for his pockets, like Mike Tyson did it. You know, this is one of the lifetime things, like two of the lifetime things. You got Turkey Ali, whatever his name is, yes. And you got your boy here, Jake, and what Logan did brought a lot of money to the game and new fans. Look at all these fans that was never into boxing.
He spun the decision as smart business and smart entertainment rolled into one. Instead of dwelling on a rematch, he praised the move that brings in new fans and new dollars. The way he explained it, boxing thrives on moments that grab the world's attention. By linking Jake to names like Tyson and Ali in his own style, he made the fight sound historic. It added fuel to the idea that this clash isn't just about records, but about rewriting the way boxing reaches people. Teddy Atlas drew on boxing history, comparing the matchup to old catchweight days. He framed it as part joke, part serious warning from someone who's seen it all.
But, you know, and I'm smiling a little bit. But, back in the day, you know, I love the 1800s, 1700s, you know, my friend out there, 1700s, whatever. But I love the old time fighters that were catchweights. And there was guys like Sam Langford. I know Sam Langford shouldn't even be compared with this because he's so special. But I mean, where Sam Langford beat heavyweights. He fought from lightweight to heavyweight and beat heavyweights. I mean, back in the day when you had a lot of great fighters fighting each other in catchweights, you did have some smaller guys fight bigger guys. You know, I mean, and you had them. You had success in spots. So I'm half with tongue in cheek, but I'm half serious because I've been in the boxing business 50 years. If anything sold, it would be this. What if Tank Davis, who can punch, who is a hell of a fighter, who is the top 10 pound for pound fighter, what if he lands a punch on this bigger guy's chin, right? Who's not a professional fighter? What happens? What happened?
He pointed to legends of the past who fought across weight classes, proving that smaller men sometimes toppled giants. By doing so, he connected Tank's challenge to the long story of the sport. The key question became simple: what if Tank lands clean on Jake's chin? That single thought carried more danger than any tale of size difference. Teddy's words made it sound like the kind of punch that could flip the whole script. It was less about history and more about the present risk, and the risk is what makes this fight so magnetic. Teddy focused on the brutal reality of size. He broke it down with raw honesty. One man at 135, the other around 200.
I know what the size difference is what creates the problem. The optics, the look, the reality. I mean, you got one guy who's fights at 135 pounds, and you got another guy who fights at 200. I mean, just that alone, yeah. But you also, and I'm not saying I want this or I like this when I heard it. No, I didn't like it, to be honest, for the optics and everything else I just said. But you do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter. He can punch. And he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger. What if he hits him on the chin? What if he hits him on the chin? It'll wind up selling. And that's what'll wind up selling it. The what if. What if Tank makes him do a cha-cha? He hits him on the chin, and Jake Paul, we're going to find out if he can dance. Whoa, 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 whoa. You know, do the cha-cha. That's what's going to sell it. And you can't argue that what if. You can't. I know I get to places that other people won't go and everything else. They just dismiss stuff because it's easier to do that. It's safer to do that. You don't have the bows and arrows coming at you from people that argue with you because you did that. But I don't care. I've had bows and arrows my whole life. I don't care.
The visual alone created unease, a mismatch that raised doubts. He admitted he didn't like it when he first heard about the fight, but he couldn't deny its pull. The contrast of a smaller, elite fighter facing a bigger, less proven one is the hook. Teddy emphasized that the danger lies in the unanswered what if. That unknown is what fans will pay to see, whether they like it or not. His tone was half warning, half acceptance, and in that balance, the fight's raw tension became impossible to dismiss. Teddy went even deeper, spinning old memories and past lessons into the moment. He tied Tank versus Jake to echoes of fights we've already seen before.
But that's true. That what if? What if this guy who is a real good puncher, who is one of the best fighters in the world right now, what if he hits him? What if he makes a miss and he counters him? Or he jumps up in the air? Bang! And he hits him. Sid Terrace was a great fighter. No, not the 1700s, but years ago. And Cus D'Amato told me he loves Sid Terrace. He said, Teddy, he used to jump up in the air and hit you with 3 jabs. I said, whoa, man, Sid Terrace. All right. Anyway, look, I can't finish without saying that it did invoke some memories and thoughts that we've been here before in a different way, where Jake Paul's brother fought Mayweather. That's not forget. And I'm not saying I like that either. I mean, first of all, Mayweather was past his prime. He was already retired. He was older, everything, but he's still the great Mayweather. And Mayweather was fighting a guy, what was it, 50-pound difference, 60-pound difference, whatever it was. And that size made a difference. It allowed Jake Paul's brother to be in there and be able to last with a smaller man, a smaller, older, greater fighter who's mostly was concentrating on defense more than just offense. So yeah, it's kind of like we've seen this already in that version of it, and we didn't really like it. I don't think I liked it that much, to be honest with you, but here we are.
He recalled stories of fighters who found ways to land in the unlikeliest spots. By doing so, he painted Tank as the kind of puncher who could change a fight with one leap or counter. Then he linked it to Logan Paul's bout with Mayweather. Another strange clash of size and skill. The reminder showed we've been down this road before, and the result left a bitter taste. Teddy didn't hide that he disliked those optics, but he admitted we're here again. The uneasy mix of novelty and danger is what keeps drawing people in, and that tension is exactly what sells. Teddy kept it blunt. He admitted there were other fights he'd rather see than this spectacle.
You're not wrong. I can't argue any of that. I'd rather see the rematch with Roach. I'd love to see him with Shakur. All that. I'm not arguing. Not arguing.
His honesty cut through the hype like a knife. For Teddy, a rematch with Lamont Roach or a showdown with Shakur Stevenson carried more meaning. That kind of matchup would be pure boxing, skill against skill. By saying it outright, he reminded fans what the sport's purists value most. Still, his words also highlighted why Tank vs. Jake exists in the first place. Because controversy sells faster than craft. It was a reluctant nod to the reality of the business. And that business is what brought us all here. At the end of the day, this fight feels bigger than just Jake Paul and Gervonta Tank Davis. It's about two worlds colliding. The YouTube star who turned himself into a headline-making fighter, and the pound-for-pound talent who built his legacy inside the ropes. The size, the power, the history, and the trash talk have all created a storm that fans can't look away from. It's the kind of matchup that makes people argue, doubt, and dream all at once. Now let's turn it to you. Do you believe Jake Paul can shock the world? Or is Tank Davis about to make a brutal statement? Do you think size will decide the night, or will skill and speed crush the hype? Would you rather see Tank in a classic boxing matchup, or are you excited for this crossover spectacle? And what legacy does a fight like this leave behind for boxing, or Jake with his size and momentum? We want to hear your thoughts and predictions, so make sure to drop them in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support means everything. Stay tuned for more updates.